Good morning, FlossTube. Welcome to the Science Knitster channel. I'm Deb or Deborah, also known as Science Knitster on Instagram and Twitter, although I really don't go on Twitter very much at all anymore. Let's see, it is June 13th, about 8:30 in the morning. And this is a FlossTube channel, obviously, since it's a FlossTube. I mainly talk about stitching, but I also enjoy all kinds of needlework and fibery things. Today, I only have stitching to talk about. And this, at least for me, we'll see. I always think this and then it goes on forever and ever. But I think this will be a short one. I actually need to keep it kind of short because I have a lot of things to get done today because I'm going to be doing a little traveling. Okay, so first I wanted to thank all the new subscribers for subscribing and also say welcome, and also a big welcome back to all of you that are returning viewers. So last week, normally I record every 2 weeks, but I got off the week I normally record, so I'm trying to use this week to get back on track because the alternate weekends I have other things that I'm doing on Saturday or Sunday morning that make it a little bit more difficult to record, and so I want to get back on track. Anyway, in my last recording, which was last week, I mentioned I was having tea because I had just eaten a blueberry scone, and then said, well, you guys probably don't want to hear about that. But then Michelle Bendy Stitchy said she was here to hear about scones. So this is the last of the batch that I made a couple weeks ago. Normally I eat it with my hands, but since I'm going to be touching my needlework, I have been eating it with a fork this morning. And I do have a cup of tea this morning in my favorite cup. This is a cup that I got, I believe, from Stash Tea. They have a series of cups based on different artwork, and they have several Van Goghs, and this is one of the Van Goghs. I believe I don't think it says on the bottom. Does it say on the bottom? It does. Almond Blossom. I think I did this last week too. Sorry. It's been a long year, right? Anyway, excuse me. This is Texas. Stuff is flowering, which means it's allergy season. So all of a sudden, I have froggy throat. Anyway, I'm going to take one more bite of my scone before I set it aside to record. Excuse my chewing. The recipe I use is from Skinny Taste. I'll try to, it's her low-fat blueberry scone. I'll try to link it below if I remember. I cannot guarantee the way my brain is right now. I like to tell people, during the week, I pretty much have the same breakfast every day. It's like, if I didn't eat pretty much the same thing every morning, I wouldn't be able to tell you what I had for breakfast. That's how my brain is right now. How many of you are with me? Probably a lot of you, right? It's just the way things are right now. We just gotta go with the flow. Okay, so I don't have any finishes. I could have, but I didn't have time to stitch much this week, and I ended up working on one thing most of the week. But I did spend some time last Sunday making some more progress on Oh Joyous Day from Blackbird Designs, both because Brenda and Laura of Brenda and the Serial Starter are doing their Blackbird weekend sale. It's like the first weekend of the month. Anyway, they were doing that last weekend, so I picked it for that, and I'm also using this piece for the Love of Brenda Sal Stitch Along that folks started in Brenda's honor because she was having some health issues, which we now know is lymphoma. but we have lots of treatments now, and just based on their last video, seems like Brenda's going into all this with a great positive attitude, which as a breast cancer survivor, I can tell you is half the battle. So, so I made some progress. I got most of this flower in. I still need to do the leaves down here and put in some of the color. And then I know I showed this last week, but I don't remember. I think that's the best angle. I need to remember that. Just like all of a sudden, the light that used to work for me doesn't anymore. I don't know what changed. And then the other thing, I need to make sure I hold this up. I noticed when I watched a little bit of the recording from last week that when I was holding stuff down, even though I could see it when I was recording, it wasn't showing up. So I'm gonna try to remember to hold things higher, and hopefully that will work. And here's my threads. I'm using the called for threads over dyes, except in the few cases where they noted you could change it out for the DMC because so little thread was needed. And I'm also stitching it on the called for 36 Picture This Plus Legacy. So that has been an enjoyable stitch, and I hope to make some more progress on it in the next few weeks. And I think just for the interest of time, I'm just gonna stack things up over here that I show you. Okay, so the main thing I've been working on is my latest Hands Across the Sea obsession, Martha Dawson, 1832. I'm stitching Martha on 40 count purled barley. I think they said the model was stitched on vintage, and I'm not sure if, I don't think mine is vintaged. Let's see, what did it say? Well, now I'm not finding it. Oh, I just said purled barley. So I'm not sure if, I don't think the model was stitched on vintaged. And this, I'm pretty sure is not. It just looks pretty plain. But instead of the called for threads, I'm actually stitching this on, get my thread, sorry, I did not organize my threads first. So here's my threads. I did my own overdye conversion. So I actually, considering I didn't have much stitching time this week, I actually got a lot done. Let me see if I fold this in half. No, I'm down far enough that I can't just fold it in half anymore. Let me start stacking this one up. Okay, and here's my threads. I'll hold these over here. So let's see, I had already started this motif and this motif, and I finished this one. This one's almost finished. I just need to put some on the top. This one was finished, and then, or almost finished, and then I realized I had a mistake way down here that meant this was too long and was gonna run into the next motif, which is, what was it? Oh, it's the Tree of Life in the center. Let me show you. It's this tree here, right in the center. So it would have been like in the middle of this branch. So I was like, oh, that's got to come out. I'm happy to fudge things if they can be fudged. If it would have just been, you know, like it's a little bit closer or something like that, I would have left it, but no. And then I also put this motif in. So that was this week's progress on Martha Dawson. And I wasn't real good about recording my stitching in my book, my calendar book, this week. And I think I just lost a needle. Shoot. Ha! Excuse me. Oh yeah, don't want to lose that. That's one of my fancy needles. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so I think there was one night this week that I either didn't stitch or I put in like 5 or 10 stitches. I was so tired. It was probably Wednesday. I was extremely tired on Wednesday because I worked late. No, it was Monday. I don't know. Whatever day it was. So I have some question marks in here, but I know if I actually stitched, it was on Martha Dawson. Okay. So the only other thing I worked on is the thing that if I had gotten this out, like say Friday, I probably could have finished it. This is actually, I don't think I've shown this. If I did, it was when several episodes ago when I went through my old whips. So this is Heart and Hand Spring Fling. This was a kit, or is a kit, obviously. There were 4 seasons, all 4 seasons. I've stitched and had framed spring, and I started summer. I am not sure when. I opened it up, and I was farther along than I remembered. So let me see. There we go. I need to remember that. So there we go. I just have to finish putting in the watermelon. There's a bird here, and then the border, and then I'm done. So I think I'm gonna spend some of my stitching time this week on this one and just get her done. I have the frames for all of them, except Winter, which I could never find the frame for. At least Silver Needle, which is where I bought the kits, because they had the frames too. They never had the frame, so I don't know what happened. But there were frames that were released at the same time. Okay, so that's what I've been stitching. I thought what I'd do, since this is super short, I thought what I would do is show you a couple of things that I kitted up or finished kitting up so I could work on in the next month. Maybe, we'll see if that actually happens. I do that. I kit things, and then the next thing you know, I decided, okay, I'll admit, I'm one of those people. Oh, shiny! See somebody stitching something, and I'm like, oh, I have to have that. I have to stitch that right now. So let me first show you. I think I've shown this. In fact, I'm pretty sure I showed this last year. This is another little kit, or a partial kit. This is a Boxer Junior Summerlicious from Lizzie Kate. This is from quite a while ago. I am not sure if this is still available or not. But so this kit has the fabric, which is 25 count flax Dublin, and it has the chart, and this one has buttons. I don't think you can see. I'm gonna have to pull this out of here. So it has a little pack of buttons, little white, just another button company budget buttons. Let's see, where are the buttons? Oh yeah, so the buttons, I don't know if you can see, the wings on the bees are little white buttons. It's kind of cute. So I have Winter, and I showed that. I should have grabbed it. I have Winter done, and it's just it's finished. Excuse me. It's finished like a padded, flat, hangy thingy square instead of round top like this one that I showed last time. So I'll finish, and I finished spring. I finished spring last year. I have not finished it yet. Like, I finished stitching, but I haven't finished it. So So it comes with everything except the floss. See, I had already. See, Susan, I even zigzagged the edges. Susan's very good. My BFF, Susan, is very good about zigzagging her edges. I am not. I was watching a floss tube. Oh, shoot, I don't remember who it was. I was watching a floss tube where they basically said, it doesn't matter. I think it probably depends more on how you stitch and the linen and how long you're taking it in and out of things. But anyway, here are the threads. So you have to provide your own threads. So these are all the called for. So I had them all. In fact, I think there were a couple I was missing that I bought last summer because I intended to stitch this last summer. And then I have one more to stitch, which is the autumn one. I have that, I have it. I collected them all when they came out. And I do plan to stitch those. And then at some point I will probably give the patterns away. Okay. So that's that one and then in the same bag, I had another one that I bought. When did I buy this? Last year maybe, or the year before, or maybe when it came out. And that, let me take this. This is, well, let's see. I'll take it out of the bag. This is another Lizzie Kate, which is why I put it in the same stitching bag. This came with just the linen and the chart, of course. And this is a little bee because I love bees and bee scalps, and this has both. And so it has the linen. And you just have to provide the threads. Let's see, what is this linen? This is, oh yeah, and it comes with the button too, does it? Yes, it comes with a little button. Where does the button go? Little button goes in the bee for the bee. The bee for the bee. Does it tell you what this is? Does it seem to tell you what the fabric is? At least not seeing it. Anyway, it looks like this is 32 count. Probably natural or something. Let me see. Here we go again. That's fairly close. It's not quite that dark. But I'm pretty sure this is 32 count. I just don't see where it says what it is. And it may not. And maybe, yeah, it doesn't say. Oh well. Anyway, oh, I forgot to show the threads. Yeah, so you have to provide your own threads, and these are all the called for, which I happen to have. Some I had to pull out of other kits, but that's okay. I made a note where they need to go back to. So the only other thing I was going to show in terms of like things I kitted up or things I'm thinking about stitching on, this is something I pulled out. I also do needlepoint, and this is something my friend Susan and I and another one of our friends, Mary, well, Susan and Mary did it for a long time, and then I kind of butted in and joined them. No, they didn't mind. There'd be a class by Tony Maneri, who's known in needlepoint and American Needlepoint Guild and Embroiderers Guild of America circles as a teacher, and he would come to the Needleworks a couple of times a year for different classes, and one of them would be where you'd pick out a canvas that you would buy from the Needleworks, and then Tony would make a stitch guide, personalized stitch guide for you, and then they would kit it up based on the stitch guide, and then you'd come to class and Tony would, if there are any things you had questions about. He'd talk about, you know, different stitching techniques and stuff like that. So let me see, this might look better with something behind it. So this is from one of the years. I think I did it with them like for 2 or 3 years. And then Susan and I kind of got into knitting in a big way, so we stopped going because we were doing knitting things instead. So this is a cute little, it's just a little island. I think this particular year we all chose canvases from the same, we decided to choose from the same line but not the same canvas, that were all sort of island beach related. I think it was Mary had like cabanas, like a line of cabanas, and Susan's had, I remember it had flip-flops in it because I remember she actually knitted like the thongy part of the flip-flop. It was cool. I bought both of those. Have I started them yet? No. Bought them, kitted them, bought the stitch guide. Anyway, so I'm thinking I'd like to finish this. What's kind of fun about this one is each of these houses, the house and the roof are different stitch, that maybe you can see that a little bit better, are different stitch patterns. So right now I'm working on this house. It's not done. I finished this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then had different techniques to try to get some texture and so forth in here. I can't remember what we're gonna do for the grass, but or the water, but he always has fun little things. And he especially if you've taken his class, you know, some of his classes, he kind of knows you as a stitcher, or he asks the folks at the Needleworks, and he tries to pitch the stitch guide, you know, to stretch you a little bit, but not so that you would be, you know, so advanced that you'd be frustrated. So it's always fun. You learn some new techniques and some new stitches. You might get, these are all the threads, and that's the other fun thing is, you know, trying different threads, you know, especially something like this where the houses are kind of small, but you know, you can try, and it's not a huge canvas, so you get to try lots of different threads, and it's just fun. So if you've been thinking about, you know, doing any kind of needlepoint, if you can't afford painted canvases, which I can't anymore, there's lots of charts out there where you can just get blank canvas and do geometrics, and that's a lot of fun too. So I encourage you, if you want to take your stitching in a different direction, I encourage you to try something like counted canvas work, which is, you know, one of the types of needlepoint, or embroidery, crewel work. There's lots of different types of needlework out there, and some of the stitches are the same, which is nice. So I have, those of you that are longtime viewers know that I started stitching when I was 6 or 7, when my grandmother taught me to embroider pillowcases. And a lot of the stitches from embroidery are also found, you know, some of them are found in cross stitch in a somewhat different way, or at least like on samplers. Some, a lot of the stitches, the fancier stitches in needlepoint are at least related to stitches in embroidery. So, or are the same stitches that you will find in embroidery, just on a canvas. So you might have to execute them in a slightly different way. But anyway, so it's fun to try different stitches and different threads sometimes. Okay, so I have a little bit more time, not a lot. So there was one other thing I've been thinking about for several weeks that I wanted to share with you, and that is, I had shared some of my older whips. When was that? A while ago now, probably. Sometimes it seems like yesterday, and sometimes it seems like years ago. But I was going through some of my patterns, and thought I'd show you some of charts and little kits that I have or things I've kitted up from what was one of my favorite designers back when I got into cross stitch in a big way in the early 2000s, until relatively, yeah, I would say in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so I want to talk a little bit about Elizabeth Designs. She actually goes by Betsy in real life. So you may have seen, I think it's been a while since I've seen her profiled in a magazine, but she was in Just Cross Stitch and some of those other cross stitch and country crafts or whatever. That one was cross stitch and country this and country that, changed names several times. I can't remember if I ever saw her in Stitcher's World. That was a nice magazine because it had both cross stitch and needlepoint stuff. Well, for me it was nice. Anyway, so this is one of her little leaf designs. So she had these smaller designs. And this is a potting shed. And since I've always at least been interested in gardening, this caught my eye. And so I have several, quite a few of her designs. A lot of her designs that attracted me were little houses or cottages, and I have quite a few of those, so I'll show those all at once. But she also had some seasonal designs. This was one I got on sale that had been around, or maybe it might have been one that I bought from somebody at a retreat. It's her spring flower sampler. I believe she had all 4 seasons, but I was never able to find the other ones. And then same thing with this band sampler. She came out with a winter, and I think, I'm not sure when this one came out, 2004. So around, I would say 2008, 2009. By then I was almost entirely knitting, doing very little stitching. What stitching I was doing was more needlepoint related because we had started a needlepoint guild chapter in Corpus Christi. So I never ended up collecting the rest of these, but I have seen her stuff on Hoffman, so I know she's, at least her stuff's still available, and I think she's still designing because I still see her stuff from her periodically in the Just Cross Stitch Christmas issue. So I can't remember if she was in last year or not, but she was in there recently. Okay, let's start on some of her houses. So I'm a sucker for seasons and holidays, so of course I had to have the holiday house, which is obviously a Christmas house. And this is it's not just a chart, it also comes with, this particular one comes with threads and charms. And this is from, I bought this probably in about 2008, so I'm not sure if that particular one is still available. And then, so this is from a series called Flowers and Friends Stitching Club. And this is the haunted house. So I'm thinking she must have had like a bunch of holidays, and for some reason I never collected the rest of them. And then, like I said, 2008 was about when I wasn't stitching as much. And so threads, and then I noticed this in here and I thought that might be what it was. So this is actually, you could put holes in there and put your threads. Okay, what else do I have? Actually, I have quite a few things, and I also have quite a few things that I either kept the magazine or cut out of magazines because it was one of her designs that I liked. Probably a house. So some more of her houses or cottages. These are actually, let me show this one next. This one I actually have, it was a chart that I kitted up, or actually I should say, I didn't kit it up, I won the kit and the chart at one of the retreats the San Antonio Needlework Guild put on. So of course I was ecstatic when I won this one, the honeybee house. So it's got bee scabs and all kinds of fun stuff. So what I liked about hers is it's not just cross stitch, so you get to try some other stitches. So there's some back stitches, and then these are, what are those? Let's see if it says in here. And then there's actually, you could do these as back stitch, but it looks a little bit like black work. Yeah, there's long stitches, there's eyelets in the border actually. The trees are worked as little, the trees and beehives and flowers have little special stitches in them. She calls them satin stitches, but they're not really. And this one, the called for threads include Needle Necessity, which Threadworks bought their recipes. So this I provided, let's see, did I provide? I can't remember if they provided or I provided the linen, but it came with all the threads. And this is who it was donated by, one of the members, Joyce. Sorry, I didn't mean to flash her address. Anyway, and she might not even live there anymore. So that I sent her a nice thank you card, I remember, because I was just so happy to get this. And then I've got a few more to show. And so this is the Bluebird Cottage. So again, some specialty stitches in here, some satin stitches there. And this is the Gardener's Cottage. So for this one, yeah, I didn't get, I think this one I bought from somebody else. No, I guess I bought it from Cross Stitch Plus, but I didn't buy the charms and buttons. This one obviously I did. So again, some specialty stitches as well as cross stitch. And this one is Beekeeper's Cottage, because bees and bee scaps. And this one I don't have the, hopefully I'll be able to get them, but if not, I can figure out something else. We got like a bee and a some bees, bunnies, little bluebird up here. Again, you know, some specialty stitches, these cherries or apples, whatever they are, specialty stitches. On the bee scaps, specialty stitches. So these are always fun to do. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever actually stitched one of these, but I am keeping Honeybee House out because it is all kitted up, and I'm hoping sometime this summer to start this one. We'll see. We'll see. I have those samplers, those hat samplers are, I have several going, plus several stitch-alongs that are samplers. I've always, I think I've said this before, I've always loved samplers, but this past year I've really gotten into them in a big way, and I tend to find one that I become obsessed with, and I don't want to stitch on anything else. So I'm going with what Brenda from Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda Sampler Stitcher, says, stitch what you love. So I've really been in a stitch what you want when you want mood lately. And sometimes, unfortunately, I'm just too tired to stitch. And I keep thinking I'm going to, because I knit also, I'm going to cast on a pair of what we call vanilla socks, like socks that are just a basic pattern that you just knit. You're basically, like, you do a little ribbing and then you just knit. And it's just a matter of shaping the sock, following a basic pattern to shape your sock. So I keep intending to cast on a pair of those just for something to work on when I'm too tired to do anything else. Because even though I could have gotten farther on Martha Dawson this week, but let's just say some frogging. Well, I showed you some frogging had to happen. It's not the first time. Won't be the last time. Anyway, like I said, I need to keep this short. because I need to get some stuff done today so I can get out of here tomorrow morning. And anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick update, what I've been up to, what I'm thinking about, show you about one of my favorite designers, and I guess that's it. Next time will be 2 weeks. I'm not sure where I'll be. Well, I have a suspicion, but I don't want to say because I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so I'll just give a report from where I am. And I may, if I had more time, I would do a little science corner today, but I don't, so I won't. And I didn't have time to like think out what I was gonna say. So, but hopefully next time I will, because I've been sort of thinking about a few things I wanted to talk about science related. If you have any questions that are science related, feel free to put them in the comments below. I would be happy to have ideas of what to talk about. I am a biologist, so biology questions would be easier for me to address, but I have pretty wide-ranging interests. So, if you've seen something sciencey in the news and want to know more about it, if I don't know, I can find out and try to put it in everyday language. I do teach non-majors on occasion, and actually there's sometimes non-majors in my majors classes. So I do, let's just say I have some experience explaining science to non-scientists. I can do without a whole lot of jargon if I need to. Anyway, I need to end this so I can get it posted and move on to other things. But thank you so much for tuning in. And am I showing my age by saying that? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And again, welcome to all the new subscribers. I'm glad to have those of you that are returning. Please subscribe if you are watching for the first time, or even not, and you just haven't subscribed yet and are enjoying my videos. And I plan to be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully that will work. And I like to end these videos by saying, remember to take time to be kind to yourself and to be kind to your neighbors. Bye.